Hello everyone. So we are here for the presentation about the German real estate market and Web 2.0 with some detailed information on how the company Airbnb works. It is a partnership between Rotary eClub Pampa Gaucho, District 4780 in Brazil, and the University of Santa Cruz. We start with some information about Rotary, which is a non-profit organization with more than 1.2 million people around the world working on projects, on social projects to contribute to their communities, as I mentioned, around the world. District 4780 is a district from south of Brazil, from the state of Rio Grande do Sul, has around 1,200 participants, 49 clubs in 21 cities of the state. eClub Pampa Gaúcho was founded in 2011 and through virtual interaction of its participants, such as chats and forums, of course using the internet, aims a similar objective as Rotary or the same objective as Rotary is to contribute to the community. Presentation today will be held by Victoria Kieper. She has a Bachelor in Business Administration from the University of Duisburg-Essen and currently a master's student in the University of Hagen. I'll then now hand over to Victoria. Enjoy the presentation.
Hello everyone. Here's our table of content. We have already talked about Rotary eClub. I will start by giving you some general information about the German real estate market, including historical background, situation now, and trends for the future. Third point to be discussed is the role of energy market, which has a great influence on the development of additional costs, such as electricity and heating. Then we come to the main part of our presentation, including the introduction to the Web 2.0. We will discuss what it means and what it allows us to do. So that you have an idea of how Web 2.0 could be useful for you, I will give you several examples of Web 2.0 companies that dominate the German market today. An extra focus will be made on Airbnb as a worldwide accommodations leader, which has its offices in Brazil, in São Paulo, along with offices in 9 other countries. The development of real estate market is tightly connected with the German history. To get a better understanding of the situation today, we have to come back to 1990, when Germany was reunified. But before, let's look at the map on the left. It represents the division of German territory into Western and Eastern zones after the Second World War, which lasted from 1939 till 1945. The West was occupied by USA, United Kingdom, and France. The minor zones were under the control of Belgium and Luxembourg. The East was the Soviet zone. In 1949, the Federal Republic of Germany was created out of the Western zones. It was a parliamentary democracy with a capitalist economic system. The other new state was the much smaller German Democratic Republic, East Germany, a Marxist Leninist welfare dictatorship with its leadership dominated by the Soviet aligned Socialist Unity Party of Germany in order to retain it within the Soviet sphere of influence. Okay, as I've mentioned before, in 1990, the Germany was reunified. This period was characterized by real estate boom in East Germany, accompanied by slow population growth. Unfortunately, the economic development of East Germany was slower than expected, which resulted in falling prices and stagnation of real estate market. Now let's have a look at the situation today. 14 years after the German reunification, there's still a significant gap between the economical development of western and eastern parts of Germany. This becomes quite obvious if we compare the GDP per capita in 2013. That makes €35,000 in West Germany, which is 40% more than in the East. The average rental fee in Munich is at least €10 per square meter, while in Berlin a square meter would cost about €6. Life is in West Germany more expensive, but at the same time it gives much more space for career perspective and life quality. There are 5 cities in Germany that have become a migration target in past 10 years. Those are Hamburg, because of the seaport. Frankfurt is an international financial center. Stuttgart and Munich are the cities where most famous German companies such as Daimler-Benz, Siemens, Audi, Bosch, Porsche, BMW have their origins. The following graphic sums up the current situation on real estate market. It is characterized by a rising number of single households with one or two people in them. As a sequence, the rising demand can be covered by supply capacities on real estate units that leads to constant rise of prices, especially in metropolitan areas like Munich, Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Frankfurt, or Stuttgart. I'd like to mention as well that since the financial crisis in 2008, the real estate investments are considered to be most lucrative in Germany. According to the report of German Federal Ministry for Construction and Urban Development, nearly 50% of private household investments in Germany are in real estate. Now, after some historical background and a current situation overview, we will talk about the role of energy in real estate market. The energy supply is a big issue in Germany. There is a lack of natural resources like gas and oil that makes Germany dependent on import from other countries. Main exporters of oil for Germany are Russia with 36%, followed by Great Britain and Norway with 14 and 10% respectively. The main supplier of natural gas remains Russia with 25%. Let's start with the energy consumption for heating. The main resource for heating in Germany is the natural gas. This table on the left shows different types of real estates like one family house, townhouse, apartment with their average natural gas consumption. If we consider an 83 square meter apartment built after 2002, that means it was built corresponding to the new energy efficiency standards, the consumption would be around 10,400 kilowatt an hour per year. We multiply this number with the average price for a kilowatt an hour, which is 8 euro cent for a kilowatt an hour, and we come up with the average cost of heating, which is 840 euro per year. In reais, that would be 2,520. These costs are absolutely relevant for Brazil because there is no need for heating. The conclusion from this table is that the energy prices and efficiency plays a major role on the German real estate market. For example, if you buy the KfW House 70, which was built according to higher efficiency standards, the price might be higher than the price of a normal house, like something built before 1977. But in a longer perspective, those new houses with the new efficiency standards would be actually cheaper because the average additional cost would be much more cheaper. Now let's have a look at the graphic on the right. The prices of oil and gas are almost at the same level as we can see here. In this respect, the analysis of electricity prices becomes more interesting. The German electricity market is going through tough times because of the government and vast investments in renewable energy. German consumers already pay the highest electricity prices in Europe, and a 20% growth is expected in the future. Let's compare what the German and Brazilian consumers pay for electricity. In Germany, there would be 30 euro cent for kilowatt an hour. In Brazil, it's around 0.3 reais for kilowatt an hour. So to sum it up, based on the actual exchange rate, the price of electricity in Brazil is 3 times cheaper than in Germany. The reason why German consumers pay such a high price for electricity was the Fukushima nuclear accident in Japan 2.5 years ago, when Germany decided to begin phasing out nuclear power and lead the country into the age of wind and solar energy. Before we discuss in detail Web 2.0, we travel from Germany to the United States of America. So we get down to California here. California is a southwest state of the US. Just for information, the GDP of California in 2013 was 2.05 trillion US dollars. At the same time, the GDP of the Brazil of the whole country was 2.246 trillion dollars. It's important to emphasize that Brazilian economy is commodity based. For example, coal mining, such companies like Vale, or oil extraction. The example would be Petrobras. In case of California, GDP is generated not by natural resources, but by technology companies and thousands of startups. One third of venture capitalist investments in USA are now located in this region. San Francisco, which is here, is where you can find Silicon Valley, which is famous for its tech companies and startups. I'll give a couple of examples. Those are the names that every one of you knows, like Apple, Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Intel. All of them emerged from Silicon Valley. Now we're heading to the central part of the presentation. Here we will try to find out what Web 2.0 actually means. The web evolution comprises three main steps. It's the Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. The first implementation of the web represents the Web 1.0, which could be considered as the read-only web. In other words, the early web allowed us to search for information and read it. There was very little in the way of user interaction or content contribution. However, this is exactly what most website owners wanted. Their goal for a website was to establish an online presence and make their information available to anyone at any time. The examples for Web 1.0 applications would be Britannica Online, banner advertising, and homepages. The definition of Web 2.0 simply requires that users be able to interact with one another or contribute content. Very important in this respect is the growing market for the mobile devices, which contributes to the intense use of Web 2.0 applications, like blogs, wikis, Twitter, and Facebook. Just think of how often you check latest activities of your friends on Facebook or write comments there through using your cell phone. Web 3.0 is an emerging phenomenon which is not clearly defined yet. Our focus is not on the Web 3.0 but on the Web 2.0 applications, interactions between users, and also the role of the mobile applications in this environment. Now we're getting a little bit back to Germany. There's of course an evident influence of Silicon Valley companies on German market, and also this whole idea of internet and mobile applications of Web 2.0 is really popular. One of the examples is the car sharing company. The idea is following. There are several locations in each city with the cars available for the car sharing members. You get a membership after online registration and monthly fee payments. So when you need a car, you simply log in through the car sharing website. You choose date, time, and location where you would like to pick up the car. You use time for shopping, for visiting events, or whatever you want. And after the time expires, you have to bring it back to the parking lot. By the way, there are no representatives of the car sharing company waiting for you in the parking lot. Your key is your member card. After your member card is scanned, the door of the car opens automatically. This concept is much cheaper if you don't use the car frequently. So it's car sharing because the cars of the company are used and shared by the members, and everything is booked and controlled over the internet. Another example for the presence of 2.0 applications on the automobile market is what is called Mitfahrgelegenheit. The translation from German would be offered lifts or rides. So people who drive a long distance from one city to another, let's say more than an hour ride, can offer a lift for a fixed price through this website. If you're interested in a particular ride, you simply book it. Normally, you pay in cash after the destination is reached. This way, traveling is much cheaper and faster rather than using public transport. And it's also fun to meet new people. This concept is quite famous in Germany. Um, Getting into the scope of our presentation, which is real estate market, one example would be Immobilien Scout 24. It's an internet web portal which gives the possibility to publish the offers of real estate units. Private users or real estate companies can place their offers, so it's kind of open for anyone. And there's also a mobile application for its website. Another Web 2.0 application is a website called Airbnb. It's a marketplace for people to rent out lodgings. The next slide will lead us to more detailed information on this topic. So on this slide, we have the fact sheet on Airbnb. We start with a little bit of history. Founded in August 2008 in San Francisco, Airbnb broke ground as one of the first peer-to-peer services to specialize in housing accommodations. Peer-to-peer can also be referred as to person-to-person. Well, the traditional thing we know is normally hotel-to-person rental. Unable to pay for housing while traveling to design conference in 2007, offered to rent part of their lofts as accommodations to subsidize the cost of the trip. They soon realized the potential in growing this market and joined with the programmer Blecharczyk to start Airbnb to change the way people think about travel today. In January 2009, the company joined the Epsilon Incubator program in Silicon Valley and expanded its offerings from just shared spaces to apartments, whole houses, and other properties. Let's have a look at the business model of Airbnb. Company allows free membership and free access to leased properties. Users are free to browse as they please and are only prompted to pay a service charge when reservation is made. This concept allows Airbnb to maximize the number of potential transactions. The target is to build a reputation of reliability, personalization, and trust. To establish this ecosystem, Airbnb used the revenue from transaction fees to implement systems such as improved customer verification, $1 million damage insurance and theft insurance, authentic guest reviews, and social connections. All of these factors help B&B create a business model that has led to promising financial returns. In a short period of time, Airbnb became a global player with the offices in 10 countries of the world, in Sao Paulo as well. It offers lodging in 30,000 cities of the world in 192 countries. And in year 2012, every 2 seconds a night was booked. Despite of all positive effects, running a company like Airbnb is not an easy task. The company constantly faces a number of difficulties. For example, in maintaining a sustainable competitive advantage. The peer to peer rental marketplace is not a defined market and can be shaped with relative ease. Due to relatively low barriers to enter this market, Airbnb's competitors can almost perfectly replicate its business model, which makes long term growth challenging. The second point is establishing consumer trust. Since Airbnb connects individuals to each other versus the traditional model of connecting individuals with an established company, like a hotel, for example, it is a challenge that Airbnb must address while they continue to expand. While Airbnb has insurance policies to address issues of vandalism, theft, or violence, the true cost of these incidents lie with the potential damage to Airbnb's reputation. The third problem are the legal issues, because it's not quite clear whether the rental services of Airbnb violate any laws, because the law regulations, they are different from state to state and country to country. For example, renting accommodations for less than 30 days is technically illegal in certain states. So Airbnb must deal with these issues as well. Now let's take a quick look at how Airbnb actually works. That is pretty simple. First, you enter the website and you create an account. That's a free service. Then you choose the destination, so the city, the country where you want to go, the check in and check out dates. You also have to choose the type of accommodation from the list of verified hosts. After you decided where you want to stay, you pay via PayPal. PayPal is an e commerce business allowing payments and money transfers to be made through the internet. So the transaction has to be accepted by the host in 24 hours. If it doesn't happen, then your credit card won't be charged and you come back to the step 2. You choose again the appropriate type of accommodation, you pay for it, and only once the host accepts the transaction and the guest checks in and there are no complaints, the credit card will be charged, along with a 6 to 12% transaction fee from Airbnb. The process is similarly simple for hosts, who receive a notification once a guest indicates interest in a particular listing and have the option to approve or deny the transaction. Once the listing is booked, the host receives the payment and Airbnb takes a 3% transaction fee. So now we're getting towards the end of this presentation. We get back to the Latin America. Main focus is on Brazil, especially as we mentioned before, the Web 2.0 and the increasing role of internet applications. Well, all this has direct linkage to the increasing number of mobile phones, especially smartphones that we have today. So here in this table, we can see the increasing number of smartphone users from year 2012 in perspective until the year 2017. By that time, the number of smartphone users will be around 70.5 million. It is to expect a lot of initiatives and companies in Brazil using web mobile applications in different types of markets in the near future. So, to sum it up, we have tried to give you some information about Germany, especially a bit of historical background and its influence on the real estate market. Then we saw the actual situation nowadays, mainly in big cities. Then we took a look on the energy market to emphasize its importance for the real estate um, market. Maybe these issues could be some fields for academic research at your local university. But major part of this presentation was focused on Web 2.0, case study Airbnb. Maybe there are more companies that could be created in this environment, and I'm pretty sure that Brazil can also develop itself in this direction. I hope that my presentation could be helpful for you as an impulse for some new creative ideas. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.